Hey everyone, I'm Jenny. If you haven't watched Weak Hero Seasons 1 and 2 yet, be careful. This entire audio contains major spoilers. In this episode, I'll be covering part 3 of our analysis of violence in the main Weak Hero characters, focusing on Beom-seok and the Irresponsible Adults. As always, if this deep psychological analysis makes you uncomfortable, feel free to skip this one. Beom-seok's violence and irresponsible adults. I want to talk about Beom-seok's complex psychology and the cycle of violence. After rewatching Season 1 multiple times, I've come to understand that Beom-seok can't simply be framed as a traitor. He's a character with multiple layers. As we all know, Beom-seok was adopted and grew up abused by his assemblyman father, and was severely bullied at his previous school, forcing him to transfer. But these surface details don't fully explain how he became the very thing he feared most. The most tragic part of Beom-seok's story is that initially, he actually tried to resist violence. In episode 4, when his father's secretary tells him to personally beat up the gangster who threatened them, Beom-seok refuses. The secretary immediately displays violence in front of him as a teaching method, almost trying to trigger Beom-seok's anger. When Beom-seok leaves the room, he kicks a trash can instead of attacking a person, showing he was actively trying to resist becoming violent himself. This small act of defiance against his father is crucial to understanding his character development. In Beom-seok's world, violence was literally the language of communication. At home with his abusive father, at school with bullies. In his experience, the world was simply divided between those who beat and those who get beaten. For someone raised in this environment, violence becomes synonymous with power and safety. The most heartbreaking moment comes in episode 5, when his friendship with Si-eun and Suho nearly saves him. When bullies from his old school confront him at the karaoke place, Si-eun and Suho believe a sincere apology is enough. They advise him not to cross the line or get hurt. They genuinely cared for him. But for Beom-seok, his father's teachings kick in, along with severe anger issues and anxiety from past trauma. Do to them what they did to you. When Suho stops him, Beom-seok lashes out verbally. Another layer to Beom-seok's character is how he interprets friendly gestures. When Suho puts his arm around Beom-seok's shoulders as an act of endearment, it triggers flashbacks of bullies who pretended to be his friends while tormenting him. What Suho intends as friendly advice, Beom-seok interprets as orders, reminiscent of how his father and bullies commanded him. His reaction makes sense considering his background. Disobedience equals punishment had been the rule of his life. What's most fascinating about Beom-seok is his desperate need to feel important and useful within the group. He can't fight like Suho or stand firm like Si-eun, so he leverages the one thing he has access to: money. Ironically, he only feels the satisfaction he craves when using his money for questionable purposes, buying alcohol, cigarettes, shoes, for the bullies. Seeing Young-hee effortlessly integrate into the group while he struggled to feel valued must have been incredibly painful for him. His resentment toward her runs deeper than just feeling left out. She represented everything he couldn't achieve: easy acceptance and genuine connection. There are two pivotal moments where Beom-seok's illusions shatter. First, when he couldn't protect Si-eun from Yongbin and had to flee in shame, realizing the bullies only saw him as a piggy bank. Second, when Suho falls into a coma and all he can do is helplessly ask if Suho is okay. His father once again forces him to obey, and this time, Beom-seok cannot stand up to him. One detail I noticed on rewatching, Beom-seok calls Suho to the gym, and Suho sincerely asks him to apologize for causing trouble for Si-eun and Young-hee, but Beom-seok refuses. So Suho says, then take a beating, and hits Beom-seok's face, in exactly the same spot where Beom-seok's adoptive father had hit him earlier. Could this connection explain why Beom-seok so brutally kicks Suho when he falls? It's devastating how Beom-seok ultimately equates Suho, someone who genuinely cared for him, with those who tormented him. Si-eun's neglectful parents. Beyond Beom-seok, another set of irresponsible adults we should focus on are Si-eun's parents. His mother didn't want children because she was focused on her career, and his father only wanted a son to show off like a trophy, but couldn't even do that because of how physically weak Si-eun was. What's most heartbreaking is that the kids at school always comment on how sad and scary Si-eun's eyes are, yet his parents saw him every day and still didn't realize something was wrong. My interpretation of Si-eun is that he feels unwanted by his parents, but being smart, he tries his best at his studies hoping they'll recognize him. But as he becomes the best, his parents just expect him to always excel, so they don't really care when he aces a test or wins an award. It's no big deal to them. They don't see how hard Si-eun tries or acknowledge his struggles, and he doesn't say anything because he assumes they don't care. This emotionally detached parental relationship combined with the curse of the gifted makes him feel alone, unseen, and unappreciated. What breaks my heart about all this is that both Si-eun and Soo-ho were loners. While Soo-ho might seem friendly, I don't think he ever had friends to hang out with. Especially with his life revolving around work, he simply had no time for friendships. And Si-eun, as we see in episode 1, was living a completely shut-off life. These two loners found each other and became friends, which makes what happened to them all the more tragic. The cycle of violence from irresponsible adults. The adults in Weak Hero deserve special mention for their irresponsibility. Beom-seok's father is the most obvious example. A public figure who physically and emotionally abuses his son while maintaining a pristine image. But the negligence extends beyond him. Teachers who ignore obvious signs of bullying, parents too caught up in their own lives to notice their children's struggles, and a system that punishes victims rather than perpetrators all contribute to the cycle of violence. What makes Weak Hero such a powerful series is that it doesn't present easy solutions. The violence portrayed isn't glorified or simplified. It's shown as a complex language that these boys learn from the adults around them. Si-eun uses violence analytically, Soo-ho selectively, and Beom-seok desperately, each reflecting their experiences and the adults who shaped them. Thanks for listening. I hope you'll check out the next episode too.